Hello and welcome back to the channel.
So, what's my view of the R1300 GS after 2 years of ownership? Well, as most of you know, I came from a 1250 GS, which I absolutely loved. And I didn't think, personally, the 1250 could get any better than what it was. I absolutely loved that bike. There was a lot of hate for the 1300 when it first came out. I never disliked it. I always looked at it and thought, it's different. Now, we don't buy GS motorcycles because they're pretty. We buy GS motorcycles because of what they do and how they do it. I didn't buy a GS because of how it looks. I bought a GS because of what it does and how it does it. So, to me, this is probably one of the most universal motorcycles on the roads. There's nothing comes even close to it in terms of doing everything that you want it to do. And yeah, it's not the best at everything, but it excels at most things. So what's your comments anyway? What do you think to the 1300 GS? Yeah, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you've never rid one, you really do need to ride one. You really do need to get your leg over a 1300 and then come back and put your comments down below and tell me what you think, because I know that 90% of you will be pleasantly surprised. Now, I watched a video the other day that was filmed in Romania with a professional rider, a road racer, riding a KTM 1390 Super Adventure around a racetrack and a BMW R1300 GS, timed against each other to see which was the quickest bike. So at the end, when they did the summary of the two bikes, the racer was absolutely 100% convinced that the KTM was the faster of the two bikes. However, he did compliment the GS on being super smooth and absolutely fantastic handling. Now, at the end, when they revealed the times to him, he was surprised to find that it was actually 2 seconds a lap slower than the 1300 GS. And the only thing I can put that down to is the fact that the bike sort of hides the fact of how quick it is. It rides that well. If I could knock it for anything at all, I would say the engine is not the quietest of engines. It's quite mechanical, but once you get going, you don't even notice it. Yeah, the engines could be quite mechanically noisy. Fuel economy is absolutely fantastic on them. What's this doing at the moment? I've not been going particularly quick, so let's see. Yeah, averaging 54 miles per gallon out of a 1300cc bike. You know, that's not bad at all. Not bad whatsoever. So the question is, would I buy another? Most definitely. And I've got absolutely no thoughts of getting rid of this anytime soon. This bike is perfect. It does everything I want it to, and it's just brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. You might be more of an adventure type biker. You know, you might want the adventure bike, but it's just too big and bulky for my liking. I know I'm a big bloke, but this bike fits me perfect. So the spec on my bike from when I bought it is it's got every box ticked. It has got adaptive suspension, it's got the radar cruise control, it's got the blind spot protection. I came from sports bikes, and it was quite a thing really for me to actually give up on sports bikes, because I had an S1000RR and I did like a 1.5 hour ride on it, and I was absolutely knackered when I got home. And I got to the point where I just thought to myself, do you know what, I need something more comfortable. And I found I actually rode an adventure bike quicker than a sports bike, because for one, look at your view, you can see everything. You're not riding with your neck bent backwards, you're comfortable while you're riding. Now, yeah, it might be an age thing. You know, I was in my mid-40s when I transferred onto adventure bikes, and my first adventure bike was a Ducati Multistrada, which I absolutely loved. So in the early 2010, 2011, I did have a 1200 air-cooled GS, and I absolutely loved that bike. But at the time, work got in the way, and I didn't need 2 or 3 bikes kicking about, so I let it go. So that bike was always in my mind. Then I noticed that BMW had started water cooling the 1200, which definitely sparked some interest. Feedback on the 1200 was good. You know, a lot of people were saying it was a really good bike. So I'd already bought a Multistrada and I was enjoying it, and for a transition from a sports bike to an adventure bike or adventure style bike, the Multistrada is a really good sort of stepping stone. So within a few months of owning the Multistrada, I'd realised that this was the way to go, and I knew exactly where I was going with it. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I kept the Multistrada for a few years. I then went to have a road test on a 1250 GS not long after they'd come out, maybe 9 or 10 months after they'd come onto the market. So I went and had a ride on the 1250, and I have to say it was a game changer for me. It was just like, it was like being back with an old friend. It was an absolutely fantastic piece of kit. So I then ordered a 1250 Rally TE, which you'll see that on my channel. There's plenty of videos on that bike. So I didn't think that BMW could improve on the 1250 as much as they did when they built the 1300. Now the 1300, I would say, having rid it for 2 years, I would say the 1300 has possibly risen above the 1250 in, I would say, 10% in every direction. It is without doubt a better bike, but still you can't take nothing away from the 1250. Have I been tempted by other bikes? Yes, definitely. I did have a Triumph 1200 Scrambler alongside a GS when I had my 1250, but although the Scrambler was a lovely bike, absolutely fantastic, I'll put you some pictures of the Scrambler on the screen now. You can see I did a lot of work on it. I had the Triumph stripes painted on the mudguards. I had the side panels painted to match the blue, the headlamp bowl. It was a beautiful bike. It had a full decat Zard on it. Fantastic piece of kit, but it still didn't get used. It was one of those bikes that you pull out maybe twice a season. I still had my GS as my go-to bike. Going back to other adventure bikes, yeah, so the Triumph, I've rode the Triumph. To me it's a bit meh, it's not for me. I'm also still a bit disillusioned with Triumph, with the amount of different fasteners they use on the bikes. they can't make their mind up whether they're using Torx drives or Allen keys or crossheads. They just need to standardise things, and they're there, the quality's there, there's no doubt about it, but when you're fixing a bike and you need several different sets of tools to get something off, it's a bit annoying. The V4 Multistrada, yeah, I've had a go on a V4 Pikes Peak. Great bike, don't get me wrong, absolutely ballistic missile, absolutely fabulous. But it was a hot day when I was riding it, and I thought my nuts were on fire. It was literally toasting my bollocks. It was that hot on, you know, around the seat, around the back cylinder. Might not get everybody like that, but I certainly noticed it, I've got to say. So yeah, there's pros and cons with them all. Also, the Multistrada V4, you're never going to see 54 miles to the gallon out of that. It just doesn't happen. And in terms of range, you know, the range on them is not as good as the GS. This will do just probably close to 200 mile on the tank, which is adequate. No need for that 33 litre bulk and the extra weight of the GSA. And don't get me wrong, I've rode the GSA, it's a nice bike, but it just doesn't feel as nimble as the standard GS does. This bike is a trophy TE, and it has not got the Enduro pack because I didn't want it. I have got, in terms of extras, I've got the Gillies foot levers on it, which are a fabulous addition. There's a video on that which will tell you all about fixing the quick shifter, getting rid of the plastic gear lever. I haven't got engine bars on it, although I have got the stainless steel BMW cylinder head protectors. The bars for me they just make the bike look a bit bulky with the bars on. There's obviously the Hillenberg carbon, but that's a personal choice. Not everybody wants Hillenberg carbon. So if you did, you know, that's down to you. I've got the MG Bike Tech levers on this bike, which they're not fitted at the moment because it's due a service, and I've had to put standard levers back on because it's got some sort of a brake lever recall on it apparently. So, and we can't do it with the MG Bike Tech levers on. In terms of ride comfort, I'm 6'2", 6'1" and a bit, as I say, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. I have got my foot pegs, my HP foot pegs, which are also Gillies. They came off my 1250. Now, just a tip for everybody there, your 1250 CNC Gillies foot pegs do fit on the 1300. However, you do have to use the 1250 return springs, because the 1300 return springs do not work with these pegs. So I had to buy a set of 1250 return springs, but no big problem there. The fact is, I've got my adjustable Gillies or HP BMW foot pegs on my 1300. Performance, well, yeah, that just stands for itself, doesn't it? We know they go well, and certainly an eye-opener for a lot of people. So in terms of issues that I've had with the bike, so I did have a bit of a outer tolerance valve clearance on my bike, which was causing a particularly loud tappet on the right hand side. Took it back to BMW, they checked the clearances and they fixed it, re-shimmed the valves, and it's been perfect since. But this is one place where I can't get my head around with modern manufacturing why they don't have that valve clearance check after the running service, because to be perfectly honest, years and years ago, when your bike or your car went in for its running service or its first service after it's run in, they would check the valve clearances. It was a standard thing. But obviously manufacturers are so blasé now, they believe that nothing will have moved between manufacture to running. But we all know it's that first, you know, that first few hundred miles when you first get the bike or the car, that things are going to bed in. And yeah, that's exactly what happened with my bike. Anything else that's gone wrong? Oh yeah, battery failure. So the battery failed. The lithium battery failed totally. I went to the bike one day and it was absolutely dead. Nothing. BMW Assist came out. They fitted me a new battery, and in the meantime I managed to revive the old battery with a jump starter pack. There's a video about that as well, so check that out. So yeah, in terms of what else did I get? My bike's got the electric windscreen on it, and I once got a electric screen calibration error. I didn't actually take it into BMW for that. I just plugged my GS 911 in and recalibrated the screen. So yeah, if you've got a GS 911, fabulous tool, absolutely fantastic, especially if you ride BMW, of course. So yeah, but anybody thinking about buying a 1300 GS or a 1250 for that matter, if you currently ride a naked or a sports bike and you're sort of a bit hesitant about going in that direction, please just go have a ride on one, and I can assure you, you won't regret it. Don't get me wrong, it's hard letting go of the sports bikes. It's almost like letting go of your youth, but yeah, don't hold back, because I can assure you, you go out with your mates on sports bikes on a 1300 and you will not be at the back of the pack. You'll be up there with them, and they'll be absolutely blown away that you can keep up with them. In terms of off-road, I can't really answer that, because I think the worst this has ever seen is an ash track, a fire road, you know, just for access more than anything. I don't really do any off-roading on it, I must be honest. It's the part of adventure bike riding that's not for me. I have recently been thinking about buying a CRF 300 or 350 to maybe do a bit of green laning, which yeah, I can see the appeal with that. But certainly in terms of off-roading on a big bike like this, I can't see what pleasure you get from it, putting yourself through all that hassle. To me, I ride it on road because it does what it does so well. So there you go. So servicing costs average around, I would say, the 250 mark for the 1300, dependent on whether it needs the brake fluid or whether it needs the final drive oil in the back. So yeah, not too bad. I think the big service with the valves and everything's about 340 quid, but that does vary between different BMW dealerships, so be sure to phone, you know, be sure to sort of ask around and, you know, get quotes from different dealers, because I can assure you there can be quite a big difference. Even though they're all BMW dealers, there can be quite a big difference between them in terms of pricing for the servicing. Brakes, again, Brembos, phenomenal brakes on this bike. It's it has got the sport braking pack on it, whatever that means, I'm not sure, but it does have the Brembos front and rear. The brakes are absolutely fabulous, absolutely fantastic. so can't knock the brakes. The tyre wear's good on it, you know, especially I have been absolutely over the moon with these Metzeler Next 2 tyres that come with as standard, because I have a personal hatred of Michelin tyres on motorbikes. I have had so many problems with Michelin tyres over the years that I gave in on them in the end. I'll put them on a car, I'll have them on a car, I'm not bothered about that. It's maybe just me, but I just can't ride a bike on Michelin tyres anymore. It's just not in my headspace. I have had countless amounts of problems with Michelin tyres. So, and I also understand that a lot of guys use the Road 5s and Road 6s, but I've also heard that they're quite susceptible to puncturing as well. So anyway, so yeah, the Metzeler Next 2 that I've got on my bike, I'll definitely be putting another set of them on, or I might even try the Road Techs, the new Road Tech O2s, see what they're like. But my personal preference is definitely either Pirelli or Metzeler. So that's my summary of the R1300 GS trophy after 2 years of ownership. And I think, you know, from my perspective, it's just the same old thing with the GS. It's sort of 9.995 out of 10. A few little problems, few little niggles, but on the whole it is an absolutely fantastic machine. If you have any questions, guys, about the 1300 GS, if I've missed anything, please put your comments down below. They're always appreciated, and I really enjoy answering all the questions. So thanks for them, thanks for the questions. So we'll leave it there then on the R1300 GS 2-year review from NJW Moto. That's my thoughts, that's what I think about the bike, and as always, it is my opinion. You can take that how you wish. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and keep the questions coming. We really appreciate all the questions. So as always, ride safe and bye for now.